Tom Clark's 6M podcast is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show. Hey, what is up? Welcome to Tom Clark's 6M podcast. I'm your host, Tom Clark, and in this episode I'm joined by co-host Phil Lindsey. From the Marvel Cinematic Universe comes one of the most popular anti-hero teams of all time, forced to find a way to coexist after personal loss, while also bringing Christmas to the leader of the group who's lost his way. We're talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special was written and directed by James Gunn and was released on the Disney Plus streaming service on November 25th, 2022. It was produced by Marvel Studios. The film primarily features characters appearing in Marvel Comics and created by various writers and artists. The original Guardians team debuted in Guardians of the Galaxy #1, published in January 1969. The holiday special follows the events of Thor: Love and Thunder, which saw the team of Peter Quill, also known as Star-Lord, Drax, Rocket, Groot, Nebula, and Mantis appear briefly in the beginning of the film. The holiday special finds Peter still grieving the loss of Gamora, who perished in Avengers Infinity War, and Yondu, the Ravager who raised him, who was killed during the second Guardians film. Drax and Mantis, seeing that Peter is sad and wanting to give him a present for Christmas, travel to Earth on a mission to kidnap actor and Quill's childhood hero, Kevin Bacon. But after finally finding him and bringing him to Peter, the team realizes that the holiday season is more about what they already have and less about what they've lost. The holiday special received rave reviews from fans and critics alike, many of whom praised it for its fun and lighthearted approach to a Marvel team that remains one of the most popular in the MCU. And that's the lowdown on the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. I have the plot to every Christmas movie right here. That's how I'm kicking off this episode, kids. The plot to every Christmas movie. I shouldn't say every. How about the majority of Christmas films ever made or will be made? Period. It's a lofty comment, yes, but one I make with zero hesitation, little to zero hesitation, because I'm right. And you'll find out once you hear it, you'll go, oh my God, he's so right. Here it is, folks. Pull close, turn your volumes up, pay attention. The plot to nearly every Christmas film ever made or will be made is quite simply this. Oh no, Christmas is ruined. Oh no, wait. The end. There you go. That's it. That's the plot to every Christmas film ever made or will be made. Because every Christmas film is about doing one thing: saving Christmas. You might fall in love along the way. You might reconcile with family members along the way. You may find a gift that you didn't know you had. You may reconnect with a dead relative in some of these movies. You never can tell, kids, but it's always about saving Christmas. That's the goal of every Christmas movie. And I don't say this as a hater, because I'm definitely not a hater. I am very much a Christmas guy. All right. I'm very festive. My tree goes up every November 1st. Look it up. You'll find that I'm right. I'm very festive. I love Christmas movies. All right. So now that we revealed the plot, guess what the plot of Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special is? Well, I just told you. Am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong. Christmas is ruined. Oh, no, wait. Bam. There you go. Thanks for listening, kids. Phil and I had a great time. We'll see you next week. So, Phil, you had yet to see this until today, actually. So let's get your broad stroke overview of the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
I think it was great. I think all of the little small touches they did with it, like changing the Marvel the Marvel tag before the special started, giving us the kind of like 80s era this is a special presentation thing was great. Um, and just giving us all the dated references. I mean, the way the thing is shot, it's shot exactly like one of those hokey holiday specials for like a TV show or something. Um, it has all of the hallmarks of that kind of stuff. It had stuff like the flashbacks seem like they were made in rotoscope, which is a great way to not only play off of what Star-Lord enjoys and the things that he will remember, but also add like this dated feel to it. And if you're in a certain age group, you might not know what rotoscoping is. You might not know what that kind of look to animation comes from. Um, but it was definitely prevalent for a long time. So I recognized it right away.
I'm with you. I really enjoyed this too. Um, I love again the very not so nuanced stuff at the beginning, the Christmas lights on logo, like you said, the way the Marvel logo introduced at the beginning of the movie, really well done. I love the animation, the very old school throwback. As we said, it's a lot of this stuff is just it's there. I think it's there for fans our age.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And also because this is what Christmas animation looks like, dude. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I mean, all the way, like I said, the Marvel tag having the Christmas comic strips in it was a nice touch, and adding, the snow and the Christmas lights was nice. Um, I mean, even the opening and using a cheesy Christmas uh rendition of a song is just it's straight out of something you would see in like all of those Christmas specials that used to come on TV.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll talk about the cast here in a minute, but I love that Yondu is back. I mean, Yondu's probably never going to actually be back, and I'm okay with that because
Yeah,
he had what a send off. What a send off, man. You know what I mean? Like we haven't covered volume 2 of Guardians here on the 6M yet, but like when we do, I'll be anxious to talk about it because um yeah. So I mean it's just uh again, what a send off, Michael Rooker. What more can you say? But we'll get there. Um, I really enjoyed this. I don't know if I knew exactly what to expect. We heard the rumors of the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, and I'm like, of course, if there's a franchise in an MCU that's going to do this, it will be Guardians because Deadpool's not quite there yet.
yeah.
So you know what I mean? Because Deadpool's the only other one I think that would do a holiday special. It makes total sense. It would be the Guardians. Like,
Marvel has managed to give us some pretty good Christmas content between
true.
this and Hawkeye and Iron Man
Yeah.
3.
Yep.
They've given us some pretty good Christmas content.
That's good. I can't argue that. Hawkeye flashed up because it's been a year since Hawkeye, which is
Yeah,
nuts that it's been
yeah.
that
It
long.
definitely doesn't seem like it.
Time is flying by post COVID, kids. Let me tell you, or post COVID outbreak, I guess. There will never be post COVID. Let's all get that straight. So yeah, it's of course I enjoyed this. I was sure that I would. I love that all the original voice cast is back because that's how Marvel rolls. If they can get the original actors, they will get the original actors. I think the only time that we really saw some variations was during the What If series, and even then, they got quite a few of the actual voice actors back to reprise their roles. I mean, there again, not to beat a dead horse here, Phil, but Marvel continues to do the very small things right. Very small things that maybe wouldn't mean something to anybody else, but mean something to this established fan base who keeps this movie universe rolling in money. I mean, honestly, that's
Yeah.
yeah, crazy. Um, well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the cast because we've already teased them. We'll run through this cast. All your favorites are back, kids. Chris Pratt, the voice behind Mario. Uh, and somebody else. Isn't he doing somebody else too?
I think so. But yeah, I thought that trailer for the Mario movie looks great. I think all of the callbacks to any of the more modern Mario games like Super Mario World was
Mhm.
great, and the Mario Kart scene was great. The callback to the initial Mario games with Donkey Kong, I thought all of it was great. I'm definitely gonna go see that.
I like Pratt. Don't get me wrong. I just, I'm not a big fan of certain stuff about him, but it's a conversation another time. Doesn't matter. Um, he's a great Star Lord. He is, and when I look at Chris Pratt, that's Peter Quill. Like that's
Yeah,
and we've had recently, Phil, some pretty high profile directors taking shots of the MCU again, saying that people only remember the characters, not the actors. And I'm thinking, wouldn't the actor take that as a compliment that you remember the character, that you remember the performance? What are we talking about here? But so for me, Chris Pratt is always going to be Peter Quill. What did you think about his performance here versus the other two Guardians films? You think it's right in line with where the character needs to be?
Um, I thought this was so different from anything else he's done as Peter Quill. Because in the first movie, he kind of plays this bumbling idiot that kind of stumbles into, um, being the hero. And I think we've reached the part now where the legend of Star Lord has superseded Peter Quill. And so now he's kind of grown into the role of, the leader of the group and a legitimate hero. And so now he kind of played the straight guy to everybody else being doing buffoonish things the entire special, which is so different because he was the guy that everybody else was looking at like, "What are you doing, Quill?" Like, especially in the first movie, everybody else was looking at him like he was kind of an idiot.
He's become Andy Taylor in Mayberry.
Kind
I
of
th-
has.
I'm just
Um,
saying, dude. In the early years of the Andy Griffith Show, Andy was the comic relief until Barney became the comic relief, and then Andy became the straight man. It's kind of what's happened here.
yeah, he kind of has, and I mean, I really like the development that we got that the Guardians bought nowhere, and
Yeah.
you can see in that he's kind of grown and matured because he was signing off things and trying to help rebuild nowhere, and that's just so different than where we started with him.
Yeah, and dude, I'm a sucker for continuity. I'm just a sucker for it. We've been so spoiled by the MCU, Phil, in a very good way.
Yeah,
Because they're big believers in continuity and they stick to it as much as they possibly can. And there's good reason for that, folks, because that's what the fans want. You give the fans what they want, keep them happy, they'll come back for more. It seems like pretty easy math, Phil. I mean,
yeah,
dude, this feels like a lived in universe. Nowhere feels like a very lived in place. These feels like characters who have been together for several years. They've grown accustomed to each other. I don't know if I say the word family, but they're familiar with each other. They've all suffered huge loss through the years, but they've bonded. They're sort of all part of each other's ecosystem. It just feels like a real setting to me. This never really feels like a bunch of aliens, despite the costuming. I mean, dude, that's years of MCU continuity, is it not?
yeah. I think the continuity here paid off really well, and I would argue that the Guardians at this point are a family. I feel like
Hmm.
I mean, even if you just look at Groot, for example, and how Groot came in as kind of the less understood member, and now they kind of act as like parents slash aunts and uncles to him because he's the youngest member of the group. Um, I mean, even like the twist we get in here makes sense continuity wise, and it adds to the idea of Star Lord was looking for family that he had kind of unintentionally found in the members of the Guardians,
Hmm.
and by extension, the Ravagers.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, no, yeah, they are a family, dude. They are. I just don't ever really feel like it's so much on the nose that I'm like, oh God, stop with this. It just feels like they come together at the right moments and they're there for each other when it counts. And again, kids, it's a Christmas special. They're supposed to be about family, right? They're saving Christmas.
Yeah,
Um,
and I'm sure we'll get into a lot of the family aspects of it.
yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of really touching stuff here.
So Dave Bautista is back as Drax. I'm gonna say it. Dave Bautista's in much better shape than I probably will ever be. However, Drax was not shirtless throughout this whole film. Don't know if it means anything. Maybe it means nothing. Who knows? But did you bump into that at all? Did that hit you in a weird kind of way, or does it really matter to you?
No, it didn't bother me. I there are two ways to look at this. It's a cheaper production, so they
Mm.
probably didn't want to come in and do the entire body paint every time. It probably was easier just to do his face and arms. Um, and I thought the same thing with Groot because Groot looked more like they used a guy in a suit for Groot and then did CG around it. So it didn't look like he was all CG this time around because he was a lot thicker. He wasn't as tall and lanky.
Mm.
Um, and so I think that was just probably a production cost thing, which is a nice way to play into how dated the holiday specials are because the
Nice.
holiday specials will have like a better production values than a TV show, so it feels more like a movie, but it's still cheaper than a movie production. So I think that was nice in it too. But the other thing you could throw as a silly explain away is that it's a Christmas movie, and it was a way to put him in all of these silly get ups, like the Christmas sweater he had on and all this
Yeah.
stuff, because it's winter, and so he, of course, he would cover up a little bit because it's winter.
Uh, I'm okay with that. Honestly, I'm okay with that. The Groot bit. I have to ask you about the Groot thing. Didn't he seem older in Endgame? Like,
Uh,
how is he still a teenager, but yet he's much bigger now?
um, yeah, there are a few continuity things with Groot that I thought were really good. It was the same thing with Drax. Like Drax, Drax's comedic humor is just his timing is just it's impeccable. Um, the scene where they're in the ship with Kevin Bacon, and uh, like he explains to them that he's an actor, and he's looking off, and he just turns to the camera and just goes, "We hate you."
Yeah.
He just says it in such a dry way. It's hilarious.
Oh,
Or him, Mantis just having a blast on in front of I'm drawing a blank on the Chinese theater. Having a
Grauman's.
blast.
Yeah.
Yeah, having a blast out there, taking a picture with all these civilians, and then you cut to the side a little bit, and he is just beating the snot out of this guy dressed as a GoBot, and the fact that a GoBot was in this was funny too. It's hilarious.
A GoBot killed his cousin, right?
Yeah, hilarious.
How in the world did a GoBot make it into this film, dude? I have to know the answer to that.
Guy
Effing,
dressed as a GoBot. Uh,
effing crazy.
yeah, but Drax is great. As for Groot, I think it was interesting that they continued this bit of giving someone a gift of outdated technology, um, because of course Star Lord's Walkman got busted, and then he got gifted a Zune in
Mm-hmm.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And this time around, we do see Groot playing that video game in Endgame, and Guardian and Rocket gives him the line of "Stop playing that thing; it's gonna rot your brain." And now he gets a better version in a Game Boy, and so it's such a great bit that I hope they keep going for the rest of the franchise.
Yeah, it's good stuff. But you're right. I mean, Peter's become it is a family. Peter's kind of become the father figure at this point. And let's rewind a second to Peter. Peter lost his girlfriend, essentially, lost his real father, lost his adoptive father. Um, I mean, this guy has lost a lot in his time.
Yeah,
Still grieving the loss of his mother as a child. He's basically lost everything. I mean, this team will never be the same again. And a bit of ominous foreshadowing, Phil, I'm sure you've heard this. Rumors abound that Guardians 3 is not going to have a happy ending. That something we're probably going to lose one or two characters in this film because they're supposedly the if there's a Guardians 4, it won't be the team that we know today. So they could be headed for a lot more tragedy, man.
yeah. I think that was a good way to mature him. Is that he's gone through a lot of trauma. Um, but I think that this was kind of a great, almost like an OVA if you're an anime fan, in a way to do like this one-off story and kind of tell this really nice story to give him a happy ending for once.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. And he did get a happy ending, kids, because they saved Christmas.
Yeah, I mean he essentially got a happy ending in the first movie, but yeah,
Um, let's see. We also have to talk about Palm Clementif. I'll get it wrong. Um, huge role, dude. You talk about stepping up as Mantis. Effing killed it in this movie. She is so funny. Like her and Drax together, I could watch a buddy cop film with those two for 2 straight hours. They're funny together, man. It's really entertaining stuff.
I agree. I think that some of the knocks that the Mantis character got in the second movie were a little valid because she wasn't a fully fleshed out character yet.
Mm.
But I think this gave us more of her character, and I think it also filled in a lot of stuff that we expected from her from the comics because in the comics, like she is a good martial artist, and we got to see that in some of the scenes here. We got to see how well she moves in some of these scenes. She seemed a lot more competent this time around.
Yeah, good call. Good
I mean,
call.
even her use of her powers worked better.
Yeah, her and Batista together are fantastic. Karen Gillian is back as Nebula, very low key, and doesn't get a lot of dialogue, but what she gets is really good. Very good stuff out of Karen Gillian here. I was glad to see her back. And then, as we mentioned, Groot, Vin Diesel's back doing the voice of Groot. Bradley Cooper, of course, back doing the voice of Rocket. Sean Gunn helps to know people in Hollywood. First of all, Sean Gunn's a really good actor. Let's don't discount what the
Yeah,
guy is capable of. But man, as Kraglin, dude, I love that he stepped up and took Yondu's role, and he's doing a very competent job of it. Man, I love this character.
yeah, yeah. I think he kind of fits the role of kind of like a stepbrother uh, to Quill. I think that he's funny in the small things they give him to do. Uh, I think he worked really well as kind of like a guy that gave us all the exposition at the beginning of the movie, and then
Mhm.
later in the movie with his explanation of Kevin Bacon. Um, yeah, I have grown to really like Karen in the role as well. I think she's great. Uh, I think just small things she does with the role. She because she doesn't get a lot of lines, but just a lot of the emoting she does is just so funny. Um,
Yeah.
her 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 response after she finds out the story of how Yondu ruined Christmas, and she just kind of like, yeah, he was right in one sense. This is a waste of time.
Yeah.
Or during the montage um, later in the movie, and how she is dancing a little bit, and the way she dances, it's just everything you would expect from her because it's as aggressive as everything Nebula does.
Yeah.
It reads as that one woman in a bar that is trying to have a good time by herself, but don't you come anywhere near her. She doesn't need you to have a good time. You stay over there. I'm dancing with my drink. Stay away from me.
Right. Even the group hug at the end, they're all group hugging, including Kevin Bacon. And she is just like patting one of them on the back and keeping her distance. Like, this is the best you're going to get out of me. I can't do the group hug thing. That was nice. A lot
Yeah.
of little stuff with her stands out. What about, well, let's go ahead and talk about Kevin Bacon, the great hero of Footloose that saved a town with dancing. And what's cool, and I'm jumping around like crazy, when Kraglin, one of the ways Kraglin gets him to stay is he tells him that, we'd heard about this hero that saved a town from dancing. And Peter basically saved the entire universe with dancing. And that may be the greatest hero of all time because of that. And Kraglin says it with a straight face because he believes it. Like, in that moment, I'm like, oh my God, he's right. Like, had Peter not done that ridiculous dance when Ronan's going, what are you doing? Dance off, you and me, bro. Had he not distracted him, everyone's dead. So honestly, that was a nice touch, dude. Talk to me about Kevin Bacon, man. How cool is it to see him in the MCU now?
It was great to see Kevin Bacon, and I love that Sean Gunn's speech is essentially uh it's almost like the director stepping into the movie and telling and breaking the fourth wall and telling Kevin Bacon in movie how important he was to this franchise because uh, essentially a lot of Star-Lord's motivations and a lot of his drives as a character were inspired by Kevin Bacon. I mean, even if you just look at his relationship with Gamora and the part Kevin Bacon played in that, um, yeah, no, he was a big part of the franchise, and so it kind of wasn't important to get him here some way so that he acknowledged it. And I love the idea that he would agree to go back and um, help him have a special Christmas after he realized everything he meant to him.
Yeah, good call. Good call. I'll show my age here. I was a fan of Footloose when it came out. I was on the younger side when that film came out. And the soundtrack, Kenny Loggins, I don't know if he gets enough flowers. The guy is in no matter what people remember of him as being the soundtrack guy of the 80s, Kenny Loggins is an excellent musician, very good guitar player, got a great mind for music, got a great ear for it, very good musician. Um, I love the fact that Kevin Bacon is where he is. It's such an odd thing to say, but he's never struck me as being a bad guy. And so when good guys win, I'm very happy about that, especially when it's somebody that I've enjoyed their work in the past. I mean, Phil, there's not much worse than finding out the guy you've loved for years is kind of a D bag, kind of a
Yeah,
bad person. You know what I
and it
mean?
happens. It happens quite often.
All the
Uh,
time.
it happens quite often.
Oh, Kanye, where art thou? I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. Yeah. So look, I think this was kind of a cutesy way to get Kevin Bacon in, and I love everything James Gunn did with this. But yeah, it very much felt like James Gunn was speaking through Sean Gunn and telling him like, no, our protagonist is the greatest hero in the world because of you.
It's good stuff. It's really good stuff. So the story from Bacon here is that he didn't know they were going to name drop him in the Guardians film. The story is he went to see the first Guardians film by himself, and that when they name dropped him, he was freaking out because he's a fan.
That's
Number
funny.
one, that makes me so happy. Number two, he supposedly goes and calls his wife, Kira Sedgwick, and says, "You got to come see this movie with me." And she's like, "What is the big deal? Why are you taking me to this movie?" He's like, "Well, first of all, it's great. Second, there's something that happens I'm not going to tell you." So they go to the movie, and when they name drop him, she's freaking out. And I'm like, these are two very famous people, dude. And
Yeah.
they're freaking out, Phil. The stories like that make me so happy. I can't help it.
Yeah, I love that she gets her own cameo. We never see her on screen, but it's
Yeah,
actually her voice in the phone calls.
very
Um,
nice.
yeah, I love all that stuff. I love the idea that he was a fan of this franchise, and you could tell that he was happy about being involved. You could tell he was having fun, uh, and all of that stuff from before. I love seeing people just have fun, having fun making something. Um, Yeah, I thought his inclusion here was good, and there's so many things also that are so wholesome, like the fact that he seemed to genuinely love Christmas, and I think
Yeah.
that's the takeaway we're supposed to get from the introduction. Like he comes home with all the Christmas gifts in his car, like his house is like decorated to the nine. He comes in and he's having just enjoying himself. He had his feet kicked up watching this Christmas movie. Um, it's it's funny. It's so funny in a wholesome way.
Yeah, they just make him out to be a pretty normal guy that lives in a really nice house. And even when Drax and Mantis show up, he's like, "Hey, yep, guys, it's private property. Come on now, cut me some slack, that kind of thing." So good, dude.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, by the way, the movie that he's watching on TV uh, is a movie where aliens kidnap Santa Claus to bring him to save Christmas, and essentially that's what Drax and Mantis are doing. They're going and stealing him away to save. They're aliens
Well
stealing a human
done.
away to
Well
save
done.
Christmas.
Well done. I love that. Actually, that's very cool. That's very cool. And that bit with him and Sean Gunn in the cockpit of the ship is a throwaway moment that lasted 2 minutes, maybe. And that one scene is so heartfelt. Like
Yeah,
Sean Gunn, the character of Kraglin is so far beyond being cutesy. He's no longer Yondu's sidekick. And Kraglin, let's be fair, has lost the best friend he ever had. And so he's not having the best day either. And so he's just basically telling Kevin, "Look, Peter, whatever." And that moment, Phil, could have been laughed off the screen, right? But it came off really good. Like, and then you kind of see why Kevin stuck around too, which is pretty cool.
yeah. I think that's James Gunn's bread and butter. He's very good at doing heartfelt moments like that. I think that's part of what made Peacemaker so good as well. There are some zany moments in Peacemaker that could have fallen apart, but there's a real heart to it, and he adds so much heart to that character. He's great at that. I think he's also done that with Rocket. Rocket has become one of the stars of the franchise because um, he does so many things that's just like, "What are you doing, Rocket?" But then he'll say something that's like, "Oh man, Rocket's great."
uh, Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that Kevin did a song. That's pretty cool too.
Which Rocket had one of the funniest moments of the entire special to me. When he's like, "Calm down, man. We don't want to hurt you." And he was
Yeah,
like, "It's a raccoon. I'll kill you."
I'll kill you. Yeah. Tom Clark's 6M podcast is sponsored in part by Radius Law Group. Every day, Radius helps individuals, families, small businesses, and nonprofit organizations throughout North Carolina, Florida, and Pennsylvania resolve their legal issues by providing effective legal counsel in the areas of estate planning, as well as elder law and Medicaid. Radius Law holds the radical belief that working with a lawyer can indeed be enjoyable. So give them a call at 1-800-519-5667 for more information and tell them that Tom Clark's 6M podcast sent you. Here's something I bumped into just a little bit, and not enough to make me not enjoy everything. If you see two aliens at your front door, you're probably going to be scared, regardless of what universe you're living in. However, there was never a moment when Kevin Bacon said anything to the effect of, wait a minute, heroes, do you guys know the Avengers? Like, not one time. And like, we're living in the Marvel universe, it's the MCU. There's cosplay of Avengers everywhere. Like, I found that a little odd that not even the character of Kevin Bacon would acknowledge, wait a minute, do you guys know each other, or how's this work? You know what I mean? I found that a little odd, honestly.
Yeah, I could see that. I do. The only time I think they referenced it uh, was, of course, Mantis seeing the guy dressed up as Captain America and thinking it was really Steve, which was funny.
Yeah.
Uh, or when a ship came down to Earth, and of course, because uh, Earth just had a very bad experience with an alien coming down to Earth, um, all of the all the humans that saw it were scared and get Mantis saying, "Why are they looking like that? Didn't you turn on the cloaking?" And he's like, yeah." While he's
Yes.
turning the knob.
Oh, it's good. Yeah, yeah. And to them, like the Battle of New York, I mean, for all they know, their aliens are back to finish the job, for all they know. So yeah, that was kind of a big deal.
Yeah, and I'm
Um,
actually saying the last time, but yeah, now that I think about it, every time aliens have come down, it's been
yeah.
bad for Earth because yeah, the Battle of New York is the same thing.
And to be fair, no one really knows about the Guardians, I don't think, because it's not like there was stories written about them. They just showed up to help fight Thanos. I don't think anyone knows who they are, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think they do. Um, yeah, I don't know how much civilians know about the battle against Thanos. I mean, they
Yeah,
clearly know the Avengers battled him and won, but I don't think they know everybody that was there.
that's fair. That's fair. Um, we had to mention Maria Bakalova, hopefully I got it right, as Cosmo the Space Dog. This is a carryover character from one of the Guardians films. I want to say it's both of them, but I could be wrong because he was one of the characters the Collector had in those tubes. Again, he's collecting as a dog sent up by the Soviets into space, who developed psionic abilities. So there you go. So yeah,
Cosmo,
Volume 2, I think, is when he first appeared.
I thought Cosmo showed up in the post credits for uh, the first Guardians movie
Maybe
because
so.
it isn't he licking the Collector when we see Howard the Duck the first time, and he's saying, "Why are you licking him like that? That's disgusting."
I think you're right. Oh my god, I think you're right. Well done. Well done. Yeah. This is, and by the way, kids, in case you're wondering, there's a different dog portraying Cosmo this time.
Yeah, I really like Cosmo this time around. Um, I think Cosmo is a great character in the comic, and so I'm glad that he's essentially part of the team now.
Mhm.
Um, I believe in the comic he is head of security for Nowhere, so I like the idea that he's included.
Oh, that's good. Good call. Um, Making a very small appearance as a bartender is Flula Borg. Flula Borg is freaking hilarious. I saw his stand up. He did spots on Conan when Conan was on TBS. Effing fantastic, so good. He was Gunther Braun, also known as Javelin in the Suicide Squad. Love this guy, kids. If you never looked up Flula Borg, do yourself a favor, look up Flula Borg and Conan O'Brien. Oh my God, he's so funny. It's insane. So I love that obviously James Gunn got one of his boys a bit part here. So it's all good. Let's talk about, and we mentioned Michael Rooker, of course, back as Yondu and Udanta, and albeit a very small role, but an important role. Michael Rooker's the man. Let's acknowledge. I want to talk about the band. The band led by Beezer McTalkalok. Beezer
What a name.
McTalkalok. I know, right? It's one word also. Portrayed by Rhett Miller, who is the lead singer of a band called the Old 97s. They are a country rock band. And actually, the entire band is in costume as the band on Nowhere. And they sing one of what will go down as one of the great Christmas songs of modern times. It's Christmas time again. I don't know what Christmas is, but Christmas time is here. So, what do you think about the band? How they taught themselves to play these instruments, and then when they get done with this ridiculous song, the crowd's just standing there like, I don't know. What's that? Like, they don't even know what music is, man. This is unexpected yet fun at the same time.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I love it's I mean, if you know what this is riffing off of, if you've watched tons of Christmas specials, this is perfect. Like that, the whole someone is singing and then a character is doing the dialogue over it, um, and actually responding to them singing and not singing back. This is a huge Christmas special trope. Um, it's also a huge Christmas special trope to have like this musical number at the beginning uh of the special to set the premise and then kind of do like a reprise that's a better musical number that everybody is into, and it makes for a big like um conclusion or a montage moment later. Yeah, it's one of those hammy Christmas special things that if you've watched enough of it, you could see it a mile away.
Yeah, it's and the fact that Peter is like playing off the lyrics, because at first the song starts off pretty good, pretty innocent, but then as the lyrics get into it, when the song kicks in, Santa is a furry freak with epic superpowers. He flies to every human home in under 14 hours. He's a master burglar, a pro at picking locks. If you don't leave milk and cookies out, he will put dung in your socks. And Peter's like, "What? No, no!" Like,
Yeah,
oh,
if you're looking for examples of something that I mean by something started with like a song and then there's somebody still in character talking to the singers. Think Alvin and Chipmunks, "All I Want for Christmas," and how
ah,
it starts exactly the same way with the chipmunks singing, and the main character is still talking to them and not singing.
very good call. I haven't heard the Chipmunk Christmas song one time this season. Not one time. I can't
That is
believe
a
I can say that.
Christmas time staple for a long time.
Hmm. Man, talk about a guy that made an entire career out of just speeding his voice up on a record player. That's insane, dude. Speeding up the tape on a recording. Crazy.
Yeah,
Made a whole career. $1 million franchise. Maybe more.
yeah, and we got all of those live action movies that were kind of ill advised.
Yes. Yes. We're all trying to forget them. If you act nicely through the night and don't jump on your bed, Santa comes with sugar plums and hurls them at your head. But if you're on his naughty list, he shoots missiles at your toes. He might just roast your chestnuts with his powerful flame throws. That's a reach, but he got it. And then when he did the rain, 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 and his arms going in a circle, and Peter's like, "Oh, that's actually pretty cool." Like he liked that bit. They kept him there the whole time through the whole song, dude. Like this minute and a half, 2 minute song, whatever it was. So good.
Yeah, very very good opening credit sequence.
Very good. Yeah, really cool. I really dug that. I love the addition. I thought it was really well done. And what good is a Christmas movie without a Christmas song, kids? You got to have at least one Christmas song. And this is again memorable. It's going to go on my playlist. I'm not going to lie to you. I got a Christmas playlist on Apple Music, and I'm going to add this to it. It's right up there with All I Want for Christmas by Lil Jon. So, dude, if you don't like All I Really Want for Christmas by Lil Jon, there's something wrong with you. It is so good. Kool-Aid Man, are you ready? I love it. Are you kidding me? That video alone is video of the decade, in my opinion. So good.
Yeah, I mean, he references a lot of other Christmas stuff. Like, doesn't he reference the elf that wants to be a dentist? Um,
Yes.
that is what Christmas movie is that from?
That's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
There you go. Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of references throughout this special of other Christmas movies, and I think all of them work pretty well.
He's compelled his creepy elves to do his every wish. One sought to be a dentist, now he's sleeping with a fish. Mrs. Claus, she works the pole, plans her man's demise. I'm sure he means North Pole. Everybody relax. Soon the elves will all rise up and stab out Santa's eyes. Oh my God.
Yeah, I thought all that stuff was great. Yeah, I can see it being hokey to people that don't really like musicals, but um, I think it's such a staple in Christmas specials.
Yeah. Speaking of musicals, did you see the thing with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds?
I didn't.
It's a Christmas musical. It's on I want to say it's Hulu, but I could be wrong. It's Hulu or Netflix. I couldn't get through it, man. I'm not a musical guy, and I love both these dudes, but like, I can't do it. It's not my style, man. I'm sure it's hilarious, but yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna give it a shot again. Maybe not. So yeah, again, gotta have the music, gotta have the song. Usually during the course of reviewing a film, I think just about every time, ask you what's your plot on, or what's your opinion on the bad guy's plot. No real bad guys in this one, which is good. What's your opinion on the story here that Drax and Mantis go to Earth to kidnap Kevin Bacon as a present? Because I love this so much. It's ridiculous and it works at the same time. What do you think about the overall story here?
I like it a lot. I like the initial premise of uh Sean Gunn's character being upset that Yondu ruined Christmas for Quill after he left Earth, and so in his mind he thinks he's never had a good Christmas, and so that's kind of his motivation to talk Kevin Bacon into going back. Because in his mind he doesn't know how the story ends. He thinks he just never had a good Christmas, and I also like the swerve of Mantis being his sister and deciding I want to do something for him because he seems down, and so let's go steal Kevin Bacon. It's such a goofy premise, but I think it works for a Christmas special because most of these things are zany like that.
Yeah, yeah. It's early ridiculous, but I'm here for it. I love it so much. And Christmas is now a thing in the MCU. I mean, it was anyway, but maybe not in the space part of this, the epic of the MCU, but it is now because they can reference this in the future. And Phil, they will. They'll reference this at some point because they're all about continuity, as we said before. Um, yeah, I love this. They just think it's okay. The word kidnapping, by the way, never comes up. Peter calls it human trafficking. And Batista's like, yes. Like he's happy when he says, like, yes, he's so happy.
I love all the things in this, by the way, that Drax gets happy at, like him flipping that car over, and he's just so excited about it. Mantis is like, "You can't do that. You can't just kill people." he, he, he's having the time of his life. He
Yeah.
picks up that alpha blow up, and he's just like, "This is mine now. This little man is mine."
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He's
And then of
so
course
excited
she
about
got
it,
him. Yeah, it comes back around because that's what she gets him for Christmas, which is great.
and he's just overjoyed for it. I love her speech to him. It's just like, "You have to leave it. Getting Kevin Bacon is more important," and he's like, "Uh." And you can tell he's just like
Yeah, yeah.
totally not agreeing with her at all. He wants to go back for it so bad.
Yeah, she's like, the little man. She's like, no, no, you can't have him. Even calls the candy cane a man. It's like, does this look like a man to you? Yeah, ask the cops upside down in the car. She's apologizing to them.
Yeah,
So
all of this
good.
stuff was funny. But yeah, all of the premise of this was great. I think that it's harmless fun. I think it's definitely harmless fun for a Christmas special. Uh, Again, if you've seen enough of these, you understand what it is. even like all the original songs, I immediately think of the Christmas episodes of Futurama where there's always a original song. Um, yeah, it. I thought this was great. I really like the resolution to it. I really like the idea that Mantis went and did this for Peter, and then she revealed to him that she was his sister. All this time thinking that she would reject him, and he was like, "No, this is everything I wanted. I wanted a family. My the love of my life is gone. My adopted dad is gone, and my real dad ended up being kind of a jerk. um,
Mhm.
so no, this is everything that I wanted. And he says this is the best thing I could have got for Christmas, which is again such a hokey thing that would be done in plenty of Christmas specials. That it's always somebody trying to get home in time for Christmas as well. That is a big Christmas trope for both the movies and the special. So I like the
Mhm.
idea of them getting together and finally finding each other at the end, and him going, "This is the best thing I could have gotten for Christmas."
They kind of sat on that little nugget, didn't they? They sat on that. Did they ever, like in part two, did it? Because I'm going back in my head into part two, which I just watched like last weekend out of the blue. They didn't really touch on that, did they?
Um, well, I mean, they don't really tell us where she's from. They just tell her. They just tell us that Ego found her, and that's kind of it. And when you think about it, that kind of fits into what he was doing. He was going to all of these planets and trying to sire an heir. And when the offspring wasn't a celestial like him, he just kind of left him in the wind. The only reason that he kept Mantis around is that she could help him sleep.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
good
I thought it
call.
fit. I thought it fit in character with what we already knew about Ego, and it kind of fit with her because she didn't know anything about the outside world. She was just a slave essentially.
Yeah, good call. And we don't know what she is.
Yeah.
You know.
Here's another. This might be me reaching, but um, Ego is a bearded man with a helper that dresses in green.
Ooh,
Yeah, that escapes and tries to help save Christmas.
I'm with you.
Yeah, yeah, that is a
Oh, oh, and Kurt Russell did play Santa Claus in a film.
he did.
It's a terrible film, but he played him.
Terrible film.
Sequel's terrible too. I'm just saying, it's a really bad
Yeah,
film.
yeah. No, there are plenty of bad Christmas movies out there.
Yes, for sure. No, that's actually not a bad pull. I we talked about the dancing bit. I love when he's in the bar. It kind of a little bit feels like that the guy's kind of hitting on him just a little bit.
And he just doesn't catch on at all
Does
because
catch
it's
on at
Drax,
all.
and Metasaurs don't escape my grasp. They
Yeah,
can't go over my head.
I would catch it.
Yeah. So
Come
no,
out and
it just
dance with us. And he says dancing is for people who are pathetic.
yeah, which is which is a callback because um it's a callback to Infinity War, I think, because isn't the line in that Drax tells Star Lord he needs to find somebody who will be pathetic with him.
Yes. Good call. Yeah. Yeah, you just need to find someone pathetic like you. Yeah. So good. He's one of the most fun characters. I mean, if I'll say this for the record: if Batista's character has to die in the part three, I think I'm okay with that because I'd like to see this character get a satisfying end to his story arc. And I, in my head, can envision a moment when he sees in the final moments of life, he sees his wife and daughter like in a vision. And I'm
Okay.
gonna get emotional in the theater when it happens, but at the same time, I'm gonna be happy for the character that he finally gets what he wants. Like it'll suck for us as the audience. But as funny as he is still an inherently sad character. Now, they could find a mate for him in the third film and then keep him around. That's possible, but it kind of feels like Drax is sort of meant to be a drastic character, man.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, let's just call it what it is. I have not seen a single Guardians movie out of this trilogy so far where I walked away and didn't cry at some point. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
James has got me in both movies. I think the "We Are Groot" scene always makes me cry. It's
Yeah.
such a sad scene. It's just it's such a great scene. Uh, and I mean, even the stuff with his mother. Um, as someone that lost my mom, it's sad too. Uh, and then in the second movie, all the stuff with Yondu is so great. You
So
don't
good.
expect it to be as heartfelt, and I mean stuff like Yondu getting his fireworks at the end, and Sean Gunn character is super excited and happy for him, um, and everything we got with that character arc, and uh, that stuff is great. I mean, speaking of all the stuff we get here, which ties into as kind of like a prequel for Guardians, between Yondu and Star Lord was great. I think the idea that he came back afterwards and he got the gift out of the garbage, and it turns out to be one of those things that he has on the dashboard. And it's actually, if you go back and look at the movie, I saw somebody else took a screenshot from Guardians One, and it is absolutely one of the things he has on his dashboard. Um, it's up there with a bunch of other things that he ended up collecting later.
Mm.
Um, and that adds so much to later. The wink and a nod to that when he finds out that Peter tricked him and didn't put the orb in that container for him, and it's actually just another thing that he ends up putting on his dashboard.
So good.
Yeah, it's so good, and I think it's so heartfelt. All of the stuff that they do with him, and the fact that he actually got Peter a real gift, which ends up being his guns, his trademark guns, and
So good. Yeah.
the what we get at the end of them in the cockpit, and you see that they actually had a great relationship. All that stuff was really good.
And Gunn has found the formula. He's found the formula to make this work. Like you said, to tug at your heartstrings, to make it fun, to make it exciting, to make it intensely dramatic. When Ego reveals that he put cancer in Peter's mother, at that moment, the entire theater went, yeah, I mean, it was like deflating a balloon, dude. Like in the theater I was in, it was deflating a balloon. It was like, oh my God. You could just hear people under their breath. And like, he's so good. Like, the Flash TV show, which we reference quite a bit because it's so freaking good. They have a very simple credo from day one with that show is heart, humor, and spectacle. That's it. And everything's got to fit under those three categories. And when they do, the show works. I kind of feel like Gunn's found the formula to making these these superhero team up films, man. I think he knows how to do it.
Yeah, I think that he hasn't had a miss when it comes to superhero content yet. I thought Suicide Squad was good. I really enjoyed Peacemaker, and I've been a big fan of the Guardians movies. I think that he I think that he has figured out how to make all of this silly, goofy superhero stuff um, feel special. I think that he knows how to add the right amount of heart to it and the right amount of humor to get people invested.
Yeah, you're right. Gets him at every turn. Speaking of keeping people invested and getting them to go along with what you're doing, when she convinces Kevin Bacon, and why have we not called him Kevin one time? It's always Kevin Bacon. It just
Yeah,
works
because they call him Kevin Bacon the entire movie. They just say his whole name.
through the whole movie. Yeah, yeah, it's good stuff. There's a great, and he now plays Hercules. Speaking of the MCU, he now plays Hercules, but he also plays Roy Kent and Ted Lasso. Um, and I'm trying to remember his name here. Let's see. He has a great podcast that I will fully endorse, by the way. It's called Films to Be Buried With. Brett Goldstein is his name. Can't wait to see what he does as Hercules in the MCU, by the way. Brett Goldstein has a habit of calling his guests by their first and last names. He hardly ever calls them by just their first name. And he had an American guest who pointed it out. I think it was a comic or a director. And he was cracking up. He's like, I love that you just keep saying my full name through the entire episode. So that's what it reminds me of. But anyway, when Mantis puts a spell on him and tells him that he's happy and that he's gonna have the best time, he's so goofy over the top, like he loves going there. And when she tells him that he's a horrible actor and everything, and he's like, he's normally I'd be ticked off with something like that, but right now I just feel really great. It's such a good moment.
Yeah, I love the idea that all of the aliens hate actors.
Yeah.
Um, um, I love the idea that they're just so disgusted by actors, and it's just so funny to me. The meta commentary of that is really funny. Um, all of these all these characters in the movie just like I hate actors, they're the worst. Um, and I don't know if this is just you, but again, if you want to take another nod in here and do degrees of Kevin Bacon, um, aliens came down and they kidnapped a guy that ended up being an actor in Galaxy Quest. The star of Galaxy Quest is Tim Allen, who was Santa Claus.
Well done. Oh man, you are connecting the dots. Are you connected to Kevin Bacon? I assume you are.
I'm sure if I tried to make that game work, I
I,
could. I was
dude, I
never good
assume
at
you
it.
because you've interviewed some pretty famous wrestling people. I assume you're I am for sure. I'm definitely connected to Kevin Bacon, but it's because of interviewing people through the years. But I'm sure you are. It probably wouldn't take you 10, 15 minutes to do the math, and it works because he's been in so much stuff. And now that he's been in the MCU, now people are going to find even more connections to him. It works. The first time I heard it, I was like, get out. But then I was
Yeah.
like, no, I think I connected through Matt Hardy. I connected to Kevin Bacon. Yeah,
Yeah, of course, I'll find any reason to talk about Galaxy Quest because it's a great movie.
right. Oh, God, I haven't seen that in forever, man.
Yeah,
Tim Allen's a tough one to talk about these days, Phil.
yeah. I mean, he's done many things that I've enjoyed over the years. I mean, who doesn't love Toy Story? But
Sure.
yeah, Galaxy Quest is one of the highlights of his career. I can't remember the name of that movie where he's a dad and he goes through like this midlife crisis at work, and then he gets into a fight with that guy in the parking lot, and then it just like changes his life.
Oh, yeah, good call. Yeah.
I can't remember the name of that movie, but it's a good movie as well.
Yeah, dude, I'm drawing a blank on that myself.
I'm picturing everybody that's in this movie. Um, oh man, I just cannot think of the name of it.
God, give me the plot again.
Um, he's like he's a single dad. Joe somebody, is that it?
Maybe that's it.
I think that's it. I think it's Joe somebody.
Hmm.
He gets into a fight with that guy, and then he decides that he's got to turn his life around and all this other stuff. He starts training with the guy to be a to learn how to fight. The guy that trains him is Jim Belushi. His daughter is Hayden Panettiere. I think it's Joe somebody. I think I'm right.
That makes
I,
sense. I'm going
I'm
to look
drawing
it
a
up
blank.
now. Joe Somebody, 2001. You got it.
Yeah, I like that movie.
It's got Patrick Warburton. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Patrick Warburton isn't he the guy that fights him in the parking lot?
As Mark McKinney.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he ends up earning his respect at the end because why not?
Well, that's how these movies work.
This is a big time cliche, man.
Well, I need the good guys to win. I've made that abundantly clear on my show. I need the good guys to win. It doesn't have to be perfect. They don't have to win perfectly, but they need to win. I can't have the bad guys winning. I don't give a crap what DC tries to tell me. Everything doesn't need to be on fire, and bad guys don't need to win, and Batman doesn't need to kill. It does. None
Yeah.
of those things need to happen.
By the way, we got a Batman reference in this special.
Yes, we did.
We got Drax saying, "Who's Batman?" I
Yeah,
mean,
who's
who's Bruce
Bruce
Wayne?
Wayne? Yeah, and we also got a very small Peacemaker, or slash John Cena appearance on
We
the
did.
Map to the Stars.
Um, yeah, all the celebrities on the Map to the Stars was Margot Robbie was the first one.
Nice.
Then there's Queen Latifah, uh, John Cena, Kevin Bacon. There's somebody else I'm forgetting. I remember the last one, but yeah, that makes sense because those are two actors he's worked with recently, and he said how much he enjoyed working with Margot Robbie on Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Let's see here. I love how they took the lady with the map to the stars, took all her money and stuff. Like they just stole from people and beat up cops and everything and flip cop cars and
Well, I mean, that's kind of the Guardian stick is that they're thieves. They've been thieves for the entire franchise. Uh,
well,
I,
that's true.
I don't know why I find it so funny, but the way that Mantis is carrying the money when she goes into the bar and she has it in her arms is hilarious to me. Uh,
Arnold's on here too.
that's the last one, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And another actor that I don't recognize. Blonde-haired actor that I do not recognize. Interesting. Yeah, no, it's the gifts at the end are great. I kind of got a little teary-eyed when they had decorated Nowhere for Peter.
Yeah,
Like,
I thought that was great. I thought
yeah,
the fact that he was all into it at one point until he started hearing the hearing the voice in the box like, what's going on? Um,
that was pretty cool. Did all that for him. I mean, even the people on Nowhere acknowledged that without Peter, well, they'd be nowhere. That's
I-
terrible. My apologies.
um, but again to go back to what I said at their at beginning when we talked about Quill, it just shows how much of an effect that Peter has had on all of them. That they only know who Kevin Bacon is because of him. They thought Kevin Bacon was this big legend because of him,
Mhm.
and their entire scheme is something that Peter would have done in the first movie.
Yeah. Yeah, good call. Yeah, there's so many things about this movie that work, and I love that this can be a standalone Christmas movie that doesn't really need to have anything reference it, or it can reference it, and that works too. And who knows what part three will bring, but it can still be a moment in time that's just left alone. I love that we got the mid-credits scene where Groot, of course, is a tree, and he drops his arms, and all the ornaments fall, and Groot's like, or Rocket looks at the camera and says, now we gotta, what is it? We gotta save Christmas again."
Yeah, we need another special.
That's
Um,
it.
we didn't talk about Rocket getting Bucky's arm finally, which I thought was a great moment.
Oh my God. She's like, "Merry Christmas." Oh my God. So good. How'd she get that, by the way?
I don't know, but it's a nice piece of continuity because um, they're the only surviving members of the Guardians after the snap, so they spent the most time together.
Yeah, because, all right, who ripped off? Now in my head, I'm going back. Who ripped off his arm?
The one time we see it getting disabled was in Falcon and Winter Soldier when the Dora Milaje does it.
But
Um,
that's the vibranium, not yeah, that's the vibranium arm. But what about the original arm that he had?
yeah, I don't know how she would have gotten that. Maybe uh, maybe she called in a favor from somebody. I don't know.
Interesting. Because
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember.
she's also close with Tony Stark, so maybe. I don't know.
He didn't have it. All right. So he did not have it. Um, when All right, so in Civil War, in the end of Civil War, they cryogenically freeze him. And so when they thaw him out, right, he does not have an arm, and they present the black vibranium arm to him. So in the meantime, he has no arm. And I swear I thought in Civil War his arm gets ripped off by somebody. But I can't remember. Something else to look up.
Yeah, yeah, that was in the end credits. That was in the end credits for Black Panther, wasn't it? Where he gets the other arm.
Maybe so.
Yeah, I think that's the end credits of Black Panther because Shuri goes to visit him in that village.
So he did get blipped away in the snap.
Right.
When he came back, the arm came with him, obviously. Um, let's see. Yeah, that's the only but there's got to be something. Very odd. Very odd. Yeah. Let's see. Barnes' prosthetic arm was destroyed by Iron Man. So
Yeah.
when they were in the three-way fight, it must have been when his arm was wrecked.
Right.
That makes sense, actually. Okay. I totally blanked on that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Either way, it's hilarious what happened. Um, yeah, so that's cool. So now Peter's got a little link, so that's nice, family and whatnot. So, um, I think I'm sure the answer to this is probably yes. We're gonna see Zoe Saldana back, right? Because the alternate version of Gamora just disappears at the end of Endgame, and we don't see her again. She kind of just walks away, but that doesn't mean she's gone.
Yeah. I'm all but certain that we're gonna see her in the third movie.
Yeah,
I don't think they wrap up the trilogy without going back to that. And she's been referenced in everything the Guardians have been in since. So
yeah.
I'd assume we'll see Gamora again.
Very true. Very true. Well, kids, the movie was 45 minutes. We have gone about an hour, so I would say that we have done our due diligence here to cover this. Um, it is a Christmas time episode. Whether or not it's the Christmas episode of 2022 calendar year, I don't know. We shall see. We have plans in a way of perhaps doing another Christmas episode, so we'll see what happens here. Dude, when they first introduced Disney Plus, I think we all kind of had the same thought. Wait a minute. Does this mean Marvel's going to do TV shows? And then here we are, fast forward X number of years later, and man, we've had some amazing hits. This is why you create a channel like this, is for something like this, which is like the Star Wars Holiday Special, which is so bad. Like, have you seen the Star Wars Holiday Special, by the way?
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Dude, it is so bad. You can find it. There's bootleg online. It is so bad. Like, oh, there's regrettable music numbers in it. Oh, dude, it's so
Yeah,
incredibly
it's a
bad.
Christmas special. You got to have a music number in there at some point.
Yeah, they celebrate Life Day in the Star Wars
Life
universe.
Day.
Life Day. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, it's incredibly bad. So, but yeah, so no, this film is not incredibly bad, kids. This film is definitely worth your time. If you haven't seen it, you need to go out of your way to see it. Celebrate the Yuletide season, make it gay and whatnot with this film, because man, it's good. I've watched it twice. I'm sure I'll watch it a third time. So, is this going to become part of your Christmas movie rotation? Be honest.
It might. I'm not sure. At this point, because I am a huge Iron Man 3 defender,
Hmm.
I watch Iron Man 3 almost every year.
That's fair. What's your top Christmas movie? Don't say Iron Man 3. Is it?
No, it's not. Um,
Okay. What's your top one?
what is my top Christmas movie? Uh, it's either Christmas Vacation or Christmas Story. Like I feel like you can't go through Christmas without seeing Christmas Story. Like it comes on, they do the marathon of it all the time. You have to. It's like you almost have to watch it. Um, so it's either Christmas Vacation or Christmas Story.
It's gonna shock you. I'm not a fan of Christmas Story.
Wow,
Yeah,
you
I
should
know.
try out.
I know. I'm.
Shame.
I don't hate it. I've just never been a huge fan of it. Um, but I do love Christmas Vacation. We've covered that. It's in the archives, kids. Did a watch along. Go check it out. I
Yeah,
love that movie.
Elf is really good as well.
Yep, love Elf. I've seen it multiple times already. Can't help it. Yeah, I love Elf. I think my best Christmas movie all time is this. It's a Wonderful Life, because I'm a
Yeah.
big Jimmy Stewart fan, man.
I don't know if I've ever seen A Wonderful Life all the way through.
Oh, I as many older movies can. It's very nuanced. There's very small things in that film that connect, and I love the connect the dots movies where in the end everything kind of makes sense the way it happened. Like, there's a lot of stuff in that movie that gets overlooked in terms of the plot itself and how everything matters. I cry every year there, and I mean, a third of the way into the movie. The movie's barely 25 minutes in, and I'm upset, not upset, but crying over something because it's powerful to me. Like, it hits all the right chords with me every year. So I'm a sucker for that film.
Hmm.
Well, there you have it, kids. There is the holiday special. And again, if you haven't seen it, go out of your way to watch it. We fully endorse it here on the 6M. Phil, let's take this thing home. And I'm going to ask you a combo question this time. Number one, what's your last word on Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special? And would you ask Santa Drax to bring you for Christmas this year?
Here's my last thoughts on this is that I think when Disney Plus was introduced, we all kind of grown to ourselves and was like, another streaming platform. And I feel like this has been well worth the cost at this point. Like we've gotten so many great shows out of this, so much original content, and I think the Guardians Christmas special is just the latest edition. It was well worth the watch if you're just looking for something to kind of get you in the mood for Christmas, and it's a nice kind of one-off to hold you over until Guardians 3.
Well done.
Ask for what did I ask for Christmas? I don't know. I don't know if I asked for anything for Christmas. What no. I would really like a good Fantastic Four movie. I really want Marvel to get this right because I am a fan of Fantastic Four. So I'm gonna say a good Fantastic Four movie.
I'll buy that. I think that makes sense. I think we'll get it. I think it'll take a while. I want the cast that I want. I wanted it to be who I wanted it to be, and they tease us with it in the Doctor Strange flick, and now I feel like we're not going to get him. But I don't know. I'm anxious to see what happens. Let's see. All right. So if we're going to stick to this genre, let me think about what I want for Christmas. I don't know. I think I'd like to have an honest to God good DC Comics film. And I don't mean one of those, hey, I kind of like Shazam. No. I mean one of those films that make everybody, all of us go, oh man, DC's back. Oh my God, that was so good. Like, I haven't had that yet.
You don't think Batman was that?
Ha! No.
I think Batman was about as close as they're gonna get. I think a lot of Snyder fans didn't like the Batman, but I thought the Batman was very good. It is a bit overrated, but I did enjoy it.
Hey, listen, I'll agree with you. That's the closest they've come in a long time. I'll 100% agree with that. I don't know if it's the one. I mean, it's like 4.5 hours or whatever. Like, whew.
Yeah, if you're not interested in Bruce Wayne being like a emo kid that does everything with Nirvana playing in the background, then might not be for you.
Yeah, it's yeah, I agree.
I enjoy it.
Not a huge fan. Don't hate the guy. It's not about the guy. It's not about the guy this time. It's just about the choice of things and story and whatnot. And like, yeah, it's gonna get to the point we can't even see him anymore. He's so dark. That's the joke. That's the gif right there. It's a good gif. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's a simple ask, but it's not so simple because they can't seem to pull it off. So we'll see what happens. Yep, there you have it, kids. There's the film. Hope you enjoyed the show. By the way, we don't really get we break the fourth wall quite a bit here on the show for obvious reasons. But to everybody that listens and downloads, thank you very much for the support. Thank you much for checking us out. Yeah, very cool of you to do so. Thanks for making us part of your listening rotation. And here's to this is season 3 of the show. Here's to many more seasons to come. And big thanks to you, Phil, as always. Big thanks to everyone that's ever stepped in and helped guest hosted. Yeah, this is pretty cool, man. I still love doing this. So as long as we dig doing it, we're going to keep doing it. I love this stuff. Again, thanks, kids, for listening. We appreciate it. Hope you guys have the best Christmas ever, or Hanukkah, or however you celebrate it. If you don't celebrate anything, just be really nice to somebody for a change. And don't go on Twitter and bash people. Let's all take a break, at least for a day or two this holiday season, and try to be good to each other. A lot to ask, but not so much if you think about it. I'm done soapboxing. We're getting out of here. That's it for us. In the meantime, as always, that is Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. Check out our social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at 6M Podcast. We'll see you next time.